Blog Talk Radio.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott with my co-host Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. We have a great show this morning. We're meeting with David and Stuart Pikoff, the founders of the Games2U franchise concept. And David and Stuart launched the mobile video game theater franchise in Austin, Texas in 2007. And to date, they've sold more than 25 franchises and plan to have more than 100 up and running by the end of 2009, and that's coming up in segment 2 of Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we got a great show.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the franchipreneur who owns one. I'm your host Marty McDermott with my co-host Don Johnson, and if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. How you doing today, Don? Welcome back.
Doing fine, Marty. How are you this week?
Good. Once again, a week has gone by very fast, and here we are again doing another show. What are we in the second?
They just keep coming, yeah.
Yeah, second week of March, and we have. I know you're going to make the announcement, the big franchise show next week. We call it the Super Bowl of franchising, don't we?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Consider it like our home show because it's within driving distance of us.
It's close enough by, yeah. When are you heading down? Are you heading down on Thursday night or Friday? Or
yeah, Thursday because...
usually after a long day work of... and then you drive down to D.C. and...
I'll leave a little early, make the drive down there, help set up the booth. People who are exhibiting, the companies, the suppliers, and the franchisors have to be set up by that Thursday. And then the show is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right. So you're doing a lot of standing on your feet. You must feel fatigued by Sunday, I imagine.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, we've talked about it in the past. I mean, I really like doing it. Get to meet for the first time people I've been working with for a year or two, the franchisors, and see existing clients, and then see a lot of my supplier friends, a lot of people that we help advertise and promote the services, people that I've known for years. So that's why I like doing it. Might as well just mention to people, it's March 20th to the 22nd down at the Washington Convention Center. It's the International Franchise Expo. It's one of the top shows of the year. And people wanting information, go to ifeinfo.com to get the times and directions and information on that.
The shows must have, they've changed a bit for me now, you know what I mean, being that we've been doing the radio show for over 2 years. You know, I think we're on our, today's probably like our 110th show. I've even lost track, you know.
Yeah,
but
right.
It's just amazing, though. I mean, the relationships that we've built over time. And, you know, now you have this semi-celebrity status. You know, you walk around and people know who you are. You know, it's like, there's Don Johnson.
It's the same with you, Marty. Don't cut yourself short.
There you go.
They just know me a little more because you've been in the franchise industry longer than I have.
I guess so, yeah.
But I'm just, you know, just being in financing and working nationwide for a bunch of years, you know.
Right.
For that.
Yeah, but this has been a lot of fun for me, you know. I mean, again, just, you know, you and I were talking earlier before the show, you know, just talking about our first show that we did, you know, over 2 years ago with PB Loco. You know, we had Ken Carey and Joe Dean on the show, and
you had 5 people on the show. Yeah.
5 people on the show at one time, and I said, you know, we haven't done that ever since that moment. And it wasn't because it was a bad show; it was a good show. It was just we've never had that opportunity, you know. So it's going to be nice to speak to David and Stuart today at the same time, you know, having 2 siblings. And you know, I was thinking earlier before the show, I think this is, and I could be wrong, the first time we've had 2 siblings on the show at the same time. We've had, I think, have we had daughter, father? No, that was cousin subs, but the dad wasn't on the show.
Right. I think you might be right. First time having brothers on.
Yeah, so that must be pretty interesting. I know we'll talk to them about that as well. You know, what is that like working with your brother? I've interviewed husband and wife franchisees for our newsletter. I don't know if we've ever had them on the show, but yeah, it is always interesting, you know, because probably both of them have their set of strengths that they.
Well, you know, hopefully they have a good relationship and
and they like each other. Well, I'm sure they do because it sounds like Games2U is doing very well. So I was, on their website last night, and I said, "Wow, what a great concept!" You know, and it's just amazing. You know, and you and I have spoken about this in the past. How birthday parties have certainly changed. You know, from when you and I were kids. You know, where we used to go bowling, or I think my parents would take us like to a pizza place or McDonald's or something. You know, and
or just have it at home where you're playing pin the tail on the donkey and then blowing out some candles. Like for my twins' 5-year birthday coming up in a couple of months, we're going to Bounce U.
That's right.
The franchise.
That's a pretty big gig. You know, they should give you a discount now for plugging them. So, right. But that's exciting. And birthdays will never be the same for you, I suspect. You know, I mean, you know, and now that you got twins, well, it's nice that you have twins though, that you could. Let's say kill 2 birds with one stone, but you know, I mean that you have it just on the one day.
Right.
You know, you don't have to do it twice during a year. So.
Yeah, I didn't really think about that, but you're right. I'm always thinking, it's not really costing more.
Right.
I think about it because we're just renting out the one place. But yeah, I see your point in general. Don't have to always celebrate stuff twice.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
but I'm not going to be looking forward to when they go off to college at the same time with that bill.
That's true. There you go. You know, so what do we got going on today, Don? And I'll kind of give you a hint as far as what we got going on over the next several weeks.
Yeah, well, like you mentioned, David and Stuart Pikoff, co-founders of Games2U, founded in Austin, Texas.
That's right.
Have sold more than 25 franchises, and they have pretty big goals. The goal is to have upwards of 100 or more by the end of the year. So it's like they're getting a lot of interest and doing well, and they'll tell us all about the franchise and how things are going. So we're looking forward to having them on shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's some shows coming up, and I know you're familiar with some of these franchises. We have Ducks coming up. You know, I don't want to say we had Ducks on the show a long time ago, but we did have Service Brands International on the show, and, you know, we did mention Ducks at the time, but it was just like a 5 minutes discussion, you know. So this is going to be interesting to have Ducks on our show. coming up. We also have that interesting concept. I think you might be familiar with these guys, Don. Christmas decor and nighttime decor. Have you ever heard of them?
I've heard of them, but not too familiar.
Yeah, it looks like it's founded by Blake Smith in 1986, also in Lubbock, Texas, as a common sense solution to fill an off-season void and provide year-round work for employees of his lawn care company, Quality Lawn Care. His Christmas decor quickly emerged as the company's #1 overall profit center, accounting for almost half of its profits. Today, more than 375 Christmas decor locations operate in 48 states and Canada, with more than 50,000 consumer and commercial customers, with plans to open locations in more than 100 new markets through franchise expansion in selective communities. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? I didn't realize that they were that big, you know. And I guess they're also affiliated with another one called Nighttime Decor, which we're going to be discussing. It says Nighttime Decor was also established in Lubbock, Texas, and pretty much a similar concept. So, again, we'll have Blake talk about, that whole franchise system. He could do it a lot better than I can, you know. And, of course, we have a lot of other great shows. We're going to have Rita's back on the show sometime in probably like towards the end of April. We got Big Mouth advertising coming up, you know. So we have a bunch of things, exciting things that are going to take place over the next several months. So really looking forward to that, but also really looking forward to next week's franchise show, you know, and just meeting a lot of the guests that have been on our show. I'm going to take lots of pictures, by the way.
Okay.
You know, so we can actually post that up on our website, and maybe you and I can get a picture together, because to get you and I in the same location, at the same place, has been a struggle, which is amazing. You know, it's you know, people wonder how we do the show, you know, and it's just here I am in Pennsylvania, and you're in New Jersey, and you know, and the show has just turned out to be this big thing. So it really is amazing how technology has had this wonderful impact.
Remember when Franchise Times did the article on us within the first year of doing the show? I liked how they said once the show's over, Don Johnson just opens his door and continues his financing business.
And I go take a shower. Like the behind the scenes of franchise interviews, you know. And I said one day we'll actually film it, you know, and show someone a behind the scenes look at franchise interviews and what goes on, you know, for the preparation for the show. Because we do a lot of preparation, you know, and there is a lot of interesting behind the scene moments that we've had, you know, that makes it really interesting, you know. So sometimes people think that it was just like a 1 hour show, you know, you call in and that's it, you know, but it's not that way at all, you know. And now we have this library of like 110 hours of shows you can hear, you know, on franchiseinterviews.com. It's really quite amazing. And our listenership has just grown exponentially. It's just amazing what's happened.
And the website's updated, franchiseinterviews.com. We got Go Franchise giving that support. And
absolutely. Our show page on Blog Talk Radio looks fantastic, you know. So it's just we have some new sponsors that we're going to have on the show in the next couple of weeks as well. So it's just been an exciting time. So enough about ourselves. I know you had some interesting articles that you wanted to discuss.
Here's something, Marty. USA Today by Marilyn Adams. The economy is brutal, but their business booms. I mean, there's so much negativeness out there today with the economy and this. I mean, you know, when reading the paper, watching TV, it's all kind of tough and gets a little tiring after a while. But here's an article. It starts off, amid the worst economic conditions in 70 years, sales of sweet, fluffy pastries made by James Skinner Baking of Omaha are hot, hot, hot. Like the way that starts?
I like that.
Family-owned Skinner Baking saw its 2008 sales revenue rise 18% from 2007. In December, sales jumped a record 25%. The firm, founded in 1911, bakes coffee cakes, fruit-filled Danish, cinnamon buns, and other time-honored goodies sold at supermarkets nationwide. Skinner ovens are working 6 days a week, and the firm is hiring to keep up with the demand. This is comfort food, says Audie Keaton, Skinner's vice president. Instead of going out to breakfast, I think families are staying home and eating Danish. Skinner's among several types of businesses that are bucking the economy's downward spiral, flourishing not just in spite of the recession, but because of it. Even as the nation's automakers, big banks, retailers, and others are laying off hundreds of thousands of workers and fighting for survival, some companies, large and small, quietly are setting sales records and even expanding because they provide products or services that worried, cost-obsessed consumers are willing to pay for. A few of the recession's beneficiaries are big public companies with household names: Walmart, McDonald's, Family Dollar. It's interesting. Those are, discount type places. McDonald's, discount food, dollar stores I'm sure are doing fine. Walmart, of course, very successful. They earned profits last year, and their stock prices soared because they kept doing what they do well, selling stuff that everyone needs cheaply. But many businesses that are thriving during the recession are not big or famous. They are smaller, mid-sized companies with few levels of management that can make changes quickly, says Mark Perry, an economics professor at the University of Michigan. The role of entrepreneurs might be even more important during a recession, he says. Their ability to be nimble and innovative and adapt to change become key advantages. History seems to bear that out. Many long-standing businesses and jobs have been created during and right after a downturn. And it says Monopoly, which owner Hasbro says is the world's most popular board game, by the way, my favorite game.
Yeah,
I liked it up until my wife beat me a couple times ago. That game was patented during the Great Depression. Microsoft, which made co-founder Bill Gates the world's richest man, was launched in 1975 after the 1970s recession.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. During the last recession in 2001-02, the U.S. economy lost nearly 2.7 million jobs, the SBA reports, but new and existing businesses with fewer than 20 employees gained over 800,000 jobs during that period.
Wow.
Hard times seem to spawn many one-person businesses, more so than in good times. But as the U.S. began to emerge from a downturn early this decade, 1 million more people launched businesses in 2003 than in 2002, a 5.7% rise.
Wow.
The bulk of those are home-based businesses such as consultants, people selling on eBay, independent contractors, says Brian Head, economist for SBA's Office of Advocacy. Such businesses can be born out of necessity by men and women who lose their jobs or just need to boost their household income.
Interesting.
So even amid all the gloom and doom today, business success stories are popping up, often reflecting America's growing frugality. And among them, they talk about, here's a business. It says many housing-related businesses, from builders to bathroom renovators, are suffering or even closing. But Tiny Bathroom Magic of Fairfax, Virginia, is coming off the best year that they've ever had, says owner Jeff Miller. He says 2008 revenue jumped about 75% compared to the previous year. He feels, and he works alone or with a few helpers, can make a bathroom look nearly new for a fraction of what it costs to remodel. When the economy goes down, my business takes off, he says. And it says here, Dallas-based Interstate Batteries, a franchise with 125 retail stores nationwide, seems to have little in common with Bathroom Magic, but Interstate is benefiting from the same do-it-yourself cost-cutting fever sweeping consumers. The 56-year-old private company sells batteries not only for cars and trucks, but also for power tools, hearing aids, cell phones, cameras, laptop computers, toys, and other devices. Interstate's retail stores, called All Battery Centers, sell batteries that people can install on their own or customers can pay to have them installed. October and December were the best months for revenue and profits in their company's history, says Mickey Elam, vice president of Interstate Batteries. The company owned 43 new stores last year. They opened 43 new stores. Now has 125 in 41 states. With the recession, people are not upgrading to new products, whether it's cars or laptops. Instead, they're trying to extend the life of their products. It's interesting.
Yeah, it's been a pretty common theme over the last 6 months, hasn't it? You know, people talking about that. You know, whether it's been like cars. Again, I'm going to have to go back into my memory, but what was it? 1-800 Radiator.
Right.
He was big on that. Didn't he say that people are keeping their cars a lot longer today? So
right.
And
there's more of a chance there's going to be needing repair work. So
exactly.
Their companies and automotive franchises are probably doing pretty good during these times.
Yeah, we've heard some clever terms as well. One that comes to my mind is I remember the word staycation, where people aren't going on vacation as much anymore.
Right.
They're staying home and they're doing things like improving their house, or putting the money into fixing, like you said, a bathroom or something like that.
It's like we had Shelf Genie on the show, and
yeah.
Sometimes people can have that service if they're preparing their house to sell, or just deciding to stay and, hey, let's fix it up and
right.
just make it easier and make better use of our space, and that's where a franchise like Shelf Genie comes in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
put your house on the market today, I mean, it's probably going to be on the market a long time. Why not, just invest into your home, I know we're going to have a lot of work done, over the next year. So, yeah, it does. It makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. I was thinking the quote, though, that you said from the one gentleman with the bathroom. Are they a franchise, Don?
No, I'm not sure if they are.
Yeah, no.
I know Interstate Batteries is. I'm not sure about.
Yeah, Interstate Batteries is. I've never heard of that other company before. It was just interesting. Their quote. It's funny, like some of the people how they say, "Oh, when we do great when the economy's bad," but then you wonder what's going to happen when it gets good again.
Right.
What are they going to say? So it is interesting, but no, it does make a lot of sense. There are a lot of, and you used the word too. You spoke about comfort foods and things like that. From what I understand, studying the recession is quite interesting. How some businesses do increase, like more people, from what I understand, are going to the movies, and things like that.
Right.
Kind of like an escape.
That's why maybe bowling is making a comeback because it's fun.
Yeah, I never thought
it's not
about
that expensive,
yeah.
And
right.
I think bowling had a real big downturn, so they're probably gaining a whole lot of new fans nationwide, young kids who never really maybe did it that much because there aren't really many bowling alleys around. But I guess.
Yeah, that's true. It's funny because and I know in New Jersey where you are, I know a lot of them closed down. And they attributed that to the smoking ban, because if you thought of the typical, now this is when you and I were kids, if you went back and you went into a bowling alley, 20 years ago, it was pretty much like smoke-filled, and,
right.
You had this stereotype of someone who bowls, and I think
right.
it's changed a lot today from where it is, 20 years ago. So it is quite interesting,
Yeah, and I've been to a few places recently, and more bells and whistles, a lot more color and more fun, and
yeah, I've heard that, like all the laser light things and things like that.
Probably just a matter of time before bowling alleys will franchise their concept. There might even be one now. I'm not sure, but that's probably going to happen.
If there is, I don't know about it. I haven't heard of it. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, I mean there's a lot of positive there. From what you said. I mean if you just go back in time and you see some of the great concepts that came out of depressions or recessions and things like that. So, I mean, it's happening now as we're speaking. I've seen a lot of creativity, in the articles that we read on the show.
Right.
People just thinking outside the box and being a lot more competitive, and that competitive spirit is definitely alive. So
well, it's just a lot of opportunity now. I mean, look at the people who are out there trying to find retail space, the deals they're getting, people looking to get business loans. These are the lowest rates in 5 years.
Yeah.
There are businesses going out of business, but that means someone maybe starting up a business maybe has less competition. So, it's a unique type of opportunities.
Yeah, I've seen some killer locations. Connie and I were shopping several weeks ago in Flemington, New Jersey. I know you're familiar with.
Right.
Have you been to Flemington?
Yes.
Just the outlets there.
Right.
I mean, there was a lot of space available in those outlets. I said, my God. I mean, 5-6 years ago, you couldn't even touch, any of those locations. So it really is amazing. There is certainly opportunity out there today if you look for it and you keep your eyes open.
Right.
So it is kind of interesting.
Okay, here's something. I guess you're finished, right?
I'm done talking.
Here's something.
Do you have another quick one, or?
Here's something. Entrepreneurs take their chances. March 8th. Business owners cautious but build for a better future by Esteban Parra out of the News Journal. It says across the country, stocks are plunging, factories are closing, and workers are losing their jobs in record numbers. Again, more negativeness. But in Delaware, a state we don't talk about much, some owners of new businesses are optimistic. Drew Smith, who opened his second Five Guys Burgers and Fries in the Price's Corner Shopping Center in January, is among them, but knows it won't be easy. Smith is hoping the economic downturn that is driving consumers away from more expensive restaurants will push them into his eateries, something we were just talking about.
Right.
We've seen a healthy demand for us to continue to expand, he said, adding that he expects to open more restaurants in Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey this year. Delaware historically issues 8,000 to 12,000 new business licenses annually, said Patrick Carter, director of the State Revenue Office. Last year, when the recession began to take hold, there were over 12,000 new business licenses in Delaware. More than 1,400 new license applications have been filed this year. If they have some talent, why not open your own business, he says. Experts also say it isn't necessarily bad to start a business during a recession, but warn budding entrepreneurs to figure out which ventures will survive. So on the franchising side, obviously do your due diligence and make sure it's the right. And you know, that's a question, I guess, when you're looking into a new franchise. You know, whether it's recession-proof, you know, recession-resistant. How are consumers going to want this service or product during these tougher times? Mm-hmm. They also need to remember that when money is tight, people will look for bargains. And that's the strategy behind Five Guys expansion. So he just talks about instead of someone going for a $15 to $17 meal, that they can go get a $9 meal and a quality meal. So I just thought I'd something pretty interesting, which backs up what we were just talking about a little bit.
Right. No, absolutely. That's fantastic. All right, some good stuff. You know, so why don't we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more franchise interviews.
Franchise Interviews. For over 2 years now, Franchise Interviews has been giving you an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship.
Through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising.
And our weekly franchise radio show, where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisors, franchisees, franchise authors, experts, and attorneys.
And our free franchise newsletter, which is a must-read for anyone looking to buy a franchise.
And don't forget to listen to our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919.
That's 610-905-2919.
Need a business loan? Talk to Diamond Financial Services, the experts in franchise financing nationwide. Whether you're looking to start a franchise, acquire an existing franchise, or expand your territory through opening new locations, Diamond Financial stands by your side start to finish. From pre-qualification to packaging and presenting your application to securing a financial commitment, and through the loan closing process, Diamond Financial is there. While you're waiting, thousands of others are making their financial dreams come true. Don't wait any longer. Pre-qualify now by completing a confidential, no-obligation financial analysis. Let's face it, traditional banks just aren't in the business of financing small business. At Diamond Financial, we specialize in securing franchise loans from $100,000 to $3 million and equipment leasing up to $150,000. Let us help you get started. Go to www.franchisefunding.net or call 877-508-2274. That's franchisefunding.net, 877-508-2274.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Franchise Interviews, where we're asking the entrepreneur who owns one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott, with my co-host, Don Johnson. And if you've ever dreamed of owning your own business, then you've come to the right place. And as we were saying earlier, Don, we have a great show this morning. We've been waiting for this one for a while. We're meeting with David and Stuart Pikoff, the founders of the Games2U franchise opportunity. And David and Stuart launched the mobile video game theater franchise in Austin, Texas in 2007. And to date, they've sold more than 25 franchises. And they plan, this is pretty aggressive, they plan to open up 100 more by the end of 2009. So you talk about nice growth. Hey, guys, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing?
Good, great, guys. Guys, joining us is my co-host, Don Johnson. And I know, Don, you wanted to say hello to Stuart and David.
Thanks, David and Stuart. Appreciate you guys coming on. It must feel pretty good to be spreading fun nationwide, huh?
It's fantastic. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's nice because, you guys are actually, we've been doing this show now for, over 2 years. We've done 110 shows up to this point, and I don't think, Don and I were saying this morning that we've had siblings on the show at the same time, so we said we imagine, we hope you guys get along well with each other.
We usually do, and if we don't, I just tell Mom.
There you go.
Or just have one brother hang up. Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Well, I guess I'll start off with either one of you. We always like to start off the show asking where our guests are calling from this morning.
We are in Austin, Texas.
Okay, great. And what were you guys doing before starting the Games2U franchise concept?
Well, this is Stuart. I came from a corporate background, 13 years vice president of a publicly traded housing company.
Okay, good.
And I was in the telecommunications business for a number of years. Me and a couple of gentlemen started a telecommunications company back in Dallas and sold that out about 5 years ago, and have been doing real estate development projects in and around Austin for about 4 or 5 years, and then we got started on Games2U.
Okay, great. And that was David, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, now I got the voices down now. That's good. Okay.
David, tell us a little bit about how you started Games2U and a little bit of the history over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. So, my brother Stuart and I had this dream for a lot of years that we were going to do business together. The timing wasn't right, and different things were going on in our lives. And so about 2 years ago, the timing just started to sync up beautifully for us. And so we said, now is the time. And we started doing a tremendous amount of research into franchising. And our objective was to buy a franchise and get 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 locations, build it up, and sell it. And we looked around. We took probably 6 months. We did comprehensive research and looked at so many different things. We could not find anything that got us excited and motivated and really pumped up to do it. So we pulled back, and we said, you know what, why don't we start something? Why don't we just make something from ground zero? And so we started honing in on children's entertainment. And, Stuart and I are both lighthearted, fun guys. We both have kids. We were done with the corporate, stuffy environment. We decided, we came up with this motto, and we said, look, work should be all fun and games.
Right.
And so we set out to come up with an unbelievable party experience for kids' birthdays. We wanted the average kid to be able to have a party like a rock star for a very reasonable price. And so we first we bought this Ford F-350, and our target audience, we wanted it to be something so different and unique because it was just bounce houses and bowling parties and all that same kind of stuff that had been done for generations. So we wanted to do something so different. So we got a big Ford F-350, and we put a lift kit on it and side rails and hood scoops and flashing lights and these unbelievable graphics. If you go to our website at G2U.com, you can see we've got all these pictures and videos. It's really cool. And we took a 32-foot gooseneck trailer and hooked it to the back of it. Again, put just unbelievable graphics around the vehicle. And we created a state-of-the-art video game theater. So on the inside, there's flat-screen TVs, unbelievable sound. There's laser light shows, fog machines. We've got TVs on the inside and the outside. We've also got outdoor laser tag, which is unbelievably fun. It blows away the indoor laser tag experience, and it's a great balance. And then we've also added a couple other cool things like these giant hamster balls that the kids do races in, and we've got these air cannons, which are modified T-shirt launchers. So we just have this unbelievable consumer proposition that is just driving kids crazy.
And neither of you ever really had much of a background with this. You just thought upon this industry, and I think children's franchises. A lot of them are very successful. I'm in franchise lending. Lenders like that particular market. Mm-hmm. But you didn't really have the background in it. It's just something that came upon you. You hit on it, and it just seemed like it would really work. Right?
I'm sorry. I think you dropped Stu. I think we lost Stu there.
I was just mentioning,
okay,
David,
yeah,
it seems like you didn't have a background in this type of service that you offer. It's just you and Stuart came together and kind of thought this would be unique and
and interesting, but you really had never done this in the past, right?
Well, specifically in the children's entertainment segment, our experience was as a parent. Our experience was every year our kids' birthdays were coming up, and we said, ho-hum, what do we do? Is it the petting zoo, the magician, the bounce house, And so from a consumer's perspective, we had a tremendous amount of experience. We were living it.
Right.
And as business guys, we had both been involved in businesses that, with my telecommunications company, I did business in 42 different states, and my brother with his, in the building business, they did business in half of the country. So, from a business perspective, it was a different product offering, but we had the business experience to grow and operate a business on a big scale. And from day one, our objective was to have a nationally franchised company. We never had the intention of owning and operating 2 or 3 or 5 of these. So we put a few trucks on the road. We owned and operated them for 6 or 8 months, and we, went through all the key learnings. We built out all the operations manual. We built a very sophisticated web-based software package, which is all the management tools and everything you need to own and operate the business, and it's all 100% completely custom just for us. But it was all those things and all the legal registrations and all those kind of things that we went through during the 6 or 8 month window, and then we started franchising. So we started the process back in late 2007, and then in March of last year is when we started franchising. And actually, I know you said 25. Since I guess we gave you that information a couple weeks ago, we actually have 34 franchises sold, and we've got contracts out we've got about 60 pending right now.
Wow, that's incredible.
And so, we expect in the next 30 to 60 days we will announce that we have reached 100 franchises sold.
That's amazing, yeah. And you said something interesting, Dave. You said, I like it would be a great tagline for you guys, a party for a rock star experience, It's just interesting. Were you the guys, too? I think I've heard, did you guys do the Jonas Brothers party? I'm kind of out of my league when I'm talking about things like this, but I'm definitely familiar with the name, though, in Johnston, New Jersey.
Yeah, we did. We have a franchisee in California, and we have been invited to be on. The application here is pretty broad. The core business is home birthday parties, but it expands well beyond that. We get paid to go to carnivals, festivals, fairs, church events, corporate team building, and in the California area, we've been paid to come onto TV sets. I mean, the Wizards at Waverly Place hired us to come on, and all the actors between shoots would come out, and it was a good tension release. And the Jonas Brothers deal, so, it's basically we go anywhere where people want to have a good time.
That's amazing.
What's the youngest that a child can be to really enjoy everything?
Well, it's our core business is 7 to 17.
Okay.
So it goes a little bit lower than that, and it goes a little bit higher than that, but and with us, we are not a video game company. That is our platform. It is our core and how people identify us with these. We have very specialized vehicles. It's hard to miss. It's a driving billboard. When it's coming down the street, there's no question what it is, and it just puts a smile on your face. It's just a cool-looking vehicle, and in there we have the state-of-the-art video game theater, but that's just a portion of the consumer offering. So especially with the younger kids, it's really important that we have other things. Otherwise, you can't, you can't keep them stimulated, active, and excited for a 2-hour party if you're one-dimensional. So we have the outdoor laser tag. So we'll play in the video game theater in virtual world for a little while. Then we go outside and we set up this make-believe battlefield scenario, and the kids are playing outdoor laser tag. Then we do the hamster ball races. Then we fire off these air cannons, and at the end of the party, we'll turn it into a candy cannon, and we just shoot. It rains down candy on everybody. So
yeah, you can tell that by looking at the website. I'm on the website right now, David. Even the van, the truck is just very clever. It's just a lot of thought went into the whole thing. So it really is incredible.
Well, I appreciate that. We definitely wanted to have some shock and awe when we're pulling down the street. We want to be noticed.
Yeah, I think Stuart's back. Stuart, are you back? I think we lost you for a second. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you now, Stuart, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, David, so when you're describing the Games2U franchise system as children's entertainment, or to a new franchisee prospect? How do you really explain it to them, and in just a few words?
This is Stu again. Basically, we provide entertainment at their doorstep. We talk about a lifestyle when we talk to prospective franchisees, and there are so many folks, so many negative vibes going on out there. People, getting laid off and cutbacks here and there.
Right.
And the truth is that people are looking for a lifestyle opportunity where it's fun again.
Right.
And so, the franchisees get to jump out of bed in the morning knowing that whenever they show up at an event, they can basically be guaranteed of the response. Their jaws are going to drop. Kids are going to be smiling. People are going to be going, "This is the coolest thing ever." And it really makes a difference in your world. After getting beat up every day for years and years in a corporate environment, or dread. You dread going to work every day. It's really a nice change to be dealing with. The only complaint we get typically is, "That's it? You're leaving? No, don't go yet." So it's really nice to kind of offer somebody a lifestyle that's a little bit more unique and fun.
Interesting, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we're speaking with David and Stuart Pikoff of the Games2U franchise concept, and one of the questions that we've recently been asking, and I'll give this one to you, Stuart, is what role has technology played in your business?
Well, for one, you're on our website, G2U.com. Mm-hmm. We are an Internet-based operating system. We've built an incredible proprietary system that is completely Internet-based. So it's a very, very intuitive, simple to understand, simple to teach system, but incredibly robust. So, for instance, on the consumer side, for our company, instead of trying to track somebody down on a cell phone or getting a voicemail or not being able to get through, it's very simple. Somebody logs onto our site, they go to G2U.com, book a party, and our system automatically routes by zip code, routes that to the queue of the franchisee, gives them information even if they're outside of an exact territory. It'll lead them directly to contact information on the closest territory to them. And so it's a highly automated system that we accomplish by the Internet. And then on our side, on the back end of the system, franchisees, again, are accessing that information. Our operating system that's Internet-based is tracking, all their scheduling components, all their data, at a glance. Franchisee can tell you, 62% of his business comes from these three schools, and, boys, girls, ages. I mean, just all kinds of great information to help them manage their business, and, couldn't do it without doing this through the Internet.
Exactly. Absolutely. That's interesting. How big is the industry?
Well, we'll tell you in a couple of years. The truth is, we were Entrepreneur, I think it was Entrepreneur Magazine, did an article in January that talked about their projections for, I think it was the 9 hottest segments for 2009, and one of them was children's entertainment. And basically, they featured that discussion was really about our company. And so, the market is untapped. It's an extremely underserved market when you just step back and think about it in general. Particularly the niche that we're in, boys 7 to 17, completely underserved. Aside from bowling party or ice skating, I mean, boys get to a certain point and it's just not cool, to invite your buddies and have a birthday party. Right. We got the cool factor back in the birthday business, and so it's completely untapped, and it's a multi-billion-dollar business according to Entrepreneur Magazine.
That's fantastic.
And very reasonable total investment, low investment size. Looks like in the $50,000 to $70,000 range to get into business. So during these tougher economic times, obviously people might be leaning more towards the lower investment size franchises. So I know you guys have that going for you. What happens when, I guess you have to set up rain dates. What happens if, it's bad weather with this type of mobile type of business? What happens in that situation, guys?
Well, it's a good question. Can you hear me again?
Yes.
I can hear you, David, yeah.
So that's a great question. We get asked that by consumers all the time. They're booking their party, and they say, hey, just want to make sure, what do we do for rain out? Well, all of our systems are completely climate controlled. You go in the video game theater, it's got heat, it's got air conditioning, it's out of the rain. We had a big event in Austin, Texas yesterday, and unusually it was cold and raining, but we had tons of kids there just laughing and having fun and playing in the heated video game theater.
Wow, good. So now going on to the investor franchisee side, what types of characteristics do you look for in a franchisee now that you're growing and getting a little bit experience with that? What are some of the things you look for in an investor, guys?
First and foremost, we look for somebody who gets it, who's emotionally attached, and who's excited to be in this business. If you don't have that, if I can't hear you smile over the phone when I do my pre-screening the first time I talk to you, then you're probably not a good candidate for our business. That truly is the most important thing. You got to enjoy it. Beyond that, we want people who have some business acumen and that have some experience, and whether they've owned their own business or if they've worked for other small businesses and they understand the work ethic that it takes, and we give you all kinds of support. We've got full-time dedicated franchise support personnel that help you. They coach, counsel, and mentor you to help you build your business every day to become wildly successful. But you have to get out and do it. We come up with a game plan, but on a localized basis, you got to be willing to work. You got to implement it, and so you can enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Something Marty and I stress all the time with franchise ownership. It's not easy. It's hard work. But that might make our great quotes in franchising. Marty, need to hear you smile over the phone.
It's so important, and it has been a common thing with a lot of franchises, So, yeah, no, absolutely. And what's the training like, guys, for your new franchisees once someone's decided to, join the club? How does the training work?
Well, training both initially and ongoing are a huge part. Our governing principle that we put up on the wall and we look at every day is to be the clear and obvious leader in our segment and to provide world-class franchise support. That is really what we pound into everybody in the organization on a daily basis. And so there's a lot of different ways that we provide that support. The first thing, as soon as somebody executes an agreement with us to become a franchisee, we have a 2-hour quick start training program over the phone. So before they even come to classroom training in Austin, Texas, before they even have their vehicle, we teach and train them how they can begin to market their business and make money. There's no reason to wait while their vehicle is being manufactured. There's no reason to wait. They can start immediately. Then they come to Austin. We've got 1 full day of classroom
Baby, can
training.
you come listen to this, please?
I'm sorry? We've got a full day of classroom training. We've got a few days of field training. We go to parties and we give them hands-on experience. After that, we typically have the franchise support rep that is dedicated to them and their account typically goes into their market and spends a couple days with them and walks the walk and talks the talk and shows them firsthand in their market how do you become successful. And then we just have continuing support. We have on a monthly basis, every single franchisee calls in, and we have a best practices call. And the guy in Tampa just came up with some great promotion where he's getting tons of bookings and making a bunch of money, and he shares that with everybody in the group. And the guy in West Palm Beach and the guy in Beverly Hills and all across the country, everybody's sharing. And that's the power of the organization and the team.
Right, sharing those great ideas and what's working. Yeah, definitely another advantage of franchising, yeah.
Right, the best practices, are so important. Yeah. It's not always the best question, David and Stuart, but is there a typical day for, one of your franchisees? I imagine a lot of days are very different.
A typical day in the life of being a franchisee?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you most of their days are busy. They've got that in common.
That's good.
The is our business is, the core of the business is kids' birthdays. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday is, you can guarantee you need to rest up for Friday, Saturday, Sunday because you're going to be going nonstop. Typically, our franchisees are, booked out several months in advance for weekend gigs. So that's kind of a given. It's a very rapid ramp up and exponential growth because as soon as you start doing promotional events and getting out there in your new territory, half the kids that attend those things want to have you for their party, and half the kids that attend that, so on and so forth. So that builds quickly. Then the key that we focus on with them and work with franchisees on is that Monday through Thursday business. And typically a lot of that's going to be commercial stuff. And that, again, like David said, we can provide the greatest system and just, awesome opportunity for people, but we still need them ultimately to get out there and follow through. And so, we'll guide them along that. We've got a fantastic marketing plan that they use, but, they've got to get out there and they've got to do, demos and be seen. Our vehicles by design are highly visible. They're rolling billboards. So we want them on the move all the time. We want them out in public so they get seen in their territory quickly. And, they do the businesses. They work, with grand openings and customer and employee appreciation kind of events and things like that. Thus far we have seen extremely quick ramp ups and people starting to fill their calendars during the week, which is kind of the balance to all of this is use your core business that you got almost built in Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then work on building that Monday through Thursday business.
It must be tremendous, just word of mouth. Once you do a couple parties, all those kids are probably going to want to do it again. So they're talking to their mom about that's what they want their birthday party to be. So I imagine, just a lot of that goes on, which is great for the franchisees.
It is. They talk about word of mouth being the best advertising. We've got, all these kids at school, and they're wearing, Games2U wristbands that we give them and T-shirts and things, and they're spreading the word for us. Man, I was at a Games2U party this weekend. It was awesome. Yeah, that's what I'm doing for my birthday. And we overhear those kind of conversations. So it spreads quickly. And let the kids do a lot of that marketing for us after we get going.
Yeah, and just that truck pulling up alone, like in a neighborhood. I mean, it's such a great promotional. I think you've probably seen it, Don, too, if you're on the website, but just driving from point A to point B. I mean, it just really stands out.
Right.
Talk about a nice promotional billboard. I mean, that truck is very powerful, I think.
And you guys are right. My wife and I are planning my twins who are 5 birthday party, and sometimes there's not a whole lot of choices. So you guys better make sure that you're in Monmouth County, New Jersey in 2 years when they turn 7, all right?
We'll be there. We'll be there.
That's something.
Dave, I wanted to ask, you've been in franchising for a little while, of course. It kind of goes to our other question about characteristics, but what would you give to an aspiring entrepreneur looking to buy a franchise, whether it's Games2U or just franchising in general? What advice would you give to them?
Well, I really believe that first and foremost, you have to have passion. You've got to be excited. It can't be that you're looking for a paycheck. You have to be genuinely excited and motivated to do what it is you're doing. And, if you find something you love to do and it's not even work, you enjoy it so much. And that's how it is with us. Our business, at the end of the party, for the first 6 or 7 or 8 months, when we were running parties, at the end of the party, the kids would come up and hug your leg and say, "Oh, my God, that was the greatest party ever. Please don't go." And if you don't feel rewarded and get satisfaction out of that, then this isn't for you. And you got to find the business that gives you that rush, that gives you that excitement. Because if you have that, the motivation, the excitement to get up and work the business every day just comes naturally. And so that's really the most important thing. Businesses take time, energy, and effort. And it's consistency. It's long-term consistency. You can't get in and burn out real quick like a Roman candle. You got to get in there, and there is some stuff that you got to do, continually on a weekly basis to keep, grinding it out and make your business big and grow and be profitable. So you got to love what you do.
Yeah, and here's just to back that up. I'm reading some of the testimonials you have on the website saying everything was perfect. My son would love to have Games2U every year for his birthday. It was amazing. Our kids absolutely love playing the games, and I'm sure they're passing that on to the franchisee. So, yeah, it must be great hearing those type of quotes every party.
I got to say, we send out our system. That's one of the things our system does is it sends out automated customer surveys to every single person within 24 hours after they've had a party or event with Games2U. Well, when we were putting those up, I literally, we've got thousands of surveys, and I just picked the first 10. They're all the same. My son said it was the greatest party he ever had. It was a phenomenal experience.
Right.
Never had anything like it. And it is. It's just genuinely unique. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, those. You're right. I'm looking at them. The word perfect and amazing is used like every other sentence.
Yeah. We hear it all the time. We really do. It's parents. You're living it. You got kids. And it's challenging to try to come up with something fun and unique. And we have it. And frankly, with the recession, I would never be so bold as to say that we are recession-proof. However, I do hear from all our franchisees that we are recession-proof. Thank God I've gotten in this business, Dave. This is awesome. That kind of thing because, people are cutting back. They're cutting back on vacations. They might not buy new clothes as often as they normally do. They might not buy that new car. But you are not going to steal your child's childhood birthday memories for a couple $100.
Yeah,
right.
It's so emotional. It's so powerful. Your kids, you always want the next generation to have it better. And frankly, when you do an at-home party, it's less expensive because you can put burgers and hot dogs on the grill. You don't get dinged with all those prices of buying food and spend another couple $100 on pizzas and whatever out of the Chuck E. Cheese kind of place.
Yeah, it's an excellent point.
I like the investment size aspect, being a mobile-based franchise, having lower overhead, someone starting out in business, which is so crucial. A lot of businesses don't end up surviving because of not having enough cash flow, but your business being a low overhead, not having to lease spaces, it's definitely a plus. Well,
when David and I thought and searched for an opportunity and the right niche to be in, there were a number of things in our investigation that led us to think, we know what we don't want. We don't want expensive real estate. We don't want, build-outs. We don't want inventories. We don't want, a year to try and get open. We don't want to have to staff, a location when the business may not be there. And so all these kind of pieces, pushed us toward a mobile concept. Right. And you're not moving, and you don't have staff, and you're not doing anything unless you have an event booked, unless you're going to make money. And so it's kind of a unique approach without having fixed overhead. At times, the locations aren't really generating revenues. So conceptually, it's a more ideal situation. You can kind of trim down your overhead costs. Fixed tend to be low, and for the most part, you're operating when you have revenues coming in.
Yeah, that's a great model. What are your plans for the future for the Games2U franchise opportunity, David and Stuart?
Our hope and dream is that we're in every city in America, and that every kid at some point during his formative years that Games2U is a birthday party that they have. And one year they will do a Chuck E. Cheese kind of party, and one year they will do a bounce house kind of party, and 1 or 2 or 3 years they'll do us. We want to be part of the fabric of children's entertainment, and we really want to be out there in every community in America. And we've got a lot of momentum. We've got great people on our team, strong franchisees to build from and use as a launch pad. And we are so committed to continually enhancing the consumer proposition to get that natural buzz going. And, as soon as we have a franchisee sets up in Dallas, and he goes and does 5 parties, and within a week, we're getting people in the Dallas area saying, I want to buy a franchise. My son went to the party. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. And so now, after 2 months of having 1 franchisee in Dallas, now we've got 3. And so we get that organic growth. We, my brother and I work the business 7/24. We are passionate about it. We will continue to put out the time and effort and work the business as we do. We really are committed to world-class franchise support. We want all our franchisees to be wildly successful, and it's number one, it's just because it's our business, and we take it very seriously. So people have a lot of choices out there, and when they choose to come on board with us, it's a big deal to be part of the Games2U family. We take it very seriously, and so we're committed to doing everything and anything possible. And frankly, from a business perspective, it just makes sense, because then as they get cranking, they come back after a couple months and they go, I'm ready to buy a second, and how about a third? And so you get that growth from within the organization, and they take less support and training because they're already expert operators. We are starting to execute a couple in strategic places. We're executing a couple of area developer agreements. Then we do internet marketing. So we've got a multitude. It's this multifaceted growth plan that we have, and it's not any one thing that we're resting on. It's just putting out effort in these 5 or 6 different key categories that continues to accelerate the growth. And we expect, it looks like we're on pace to sell between 2 and 3. It might be a little bit higher than that, but between 200 and 300 franchises this year.
Wow, that's incredible. Great. Yeah, I mean, it's just even amazing, David, how in the intro to the show this morning I was talking, saying that you guys had 25 franchises, and from when I last spoke to you, now you're up to, was it 30 plus? I mean, it's just incredible.
Those were last week's notes.
It's amazing, so I can't even keep up, So I know when we have, and Don and I are definitely going to have you guys back on the show towards like the end of the year or early next year. It'll just be amazing to just watch you guys continue to grow, and I'm very confident you guys are going to, as you say, be in every city in the United States. It really is an incredible franchise model, So, So what's the best way for our listeners to get more information on your franchise opportunity?
Really, the best way to keep up with us and get a tremendous amount of detailed information on the franchise opportunity is go to our website. It's G2U.com. So it's the letter G, the number 2, letter U, G2U.com. And there's a franchise section there that details, it's got screenshots of our operating system, talks about a lot of the things we've reviewed today, best things about our franchise, what makes it great, talks about the training and support and operating system and all that kind of stuff. So G2U.com is easily the best thing for them to look at.
Yeah, it's an incredible website, by the way, too. I mean, just very, very informative, And I want to thank both of you again for coming on this show this morning. You guys were incredible guests, and I know Don and I both would love to have you back in the near future.
We'd love to. We appreciate it, fellas.
Thanks.
Our pleasure, and we'd love to plan on doing the twins' birthday.
You got it.
Definitely.
Thanks, David and Stuart. You guys have a great day today.
Thank you.
Dude, take care.
Bye.
Great show, huh, Don?
Yeah, I mean...
great franchise model. I mean, as they were talking, it's just...
I have no doubt that they're going to just have a lot of success with this. A lot of positives.
I totally agree, and... So for our listeners, go to franchiseinterviews.com, gofranchise.com, franchisefunding.net, and next week we have another incredible show, and we'll see everybody also in Washington, D.C. Next weekend. Don and I will both be there.
Right.
And what else, Don?
Well, we look forward to the show. We got great shows coming up. Go to our show page as well on Blog Talk Radio. See all of our interviews as well as franchiseinterviews.com. Good job, Marty.
Good job, Don. I'll talk to you next week.
Take care.
Take care.